I started playing in junior high, the 5th grade, I believe. We had a gentleman, a principal, that had come off of World War II. He had lost an arm, so he just had one arm, one hand, but he'd get out there and it was amazing. He could play volleyball and he could play basketball. And they started competitive high school in Texas my sophomore year. Before that, we just played the neighboring towns and all. Finally, my sophomore year, they went ahead and set up districts. And then my junior year, my senior year, they finally set up the regional setup. No state title, just regional. And this was in volleyball. Basketball had already been playing state. You know, basketball started in Texas. The state tournament started, I believe, when I was a freshman in high school. That's when Alpine finally started basketball for girls, my freshman year, when it was sanctioned by the state. And then volleyball was not sanctioned by the state until late. So we just played through regional, and that was it. My senior year, our volleyball coach was the assistant football coach. And so, you know, he didn't know anything about volleyball. You know, he'd call practice and we'd show up and he would open the gym and said, okay girls, I'll be back at such and such a time. And we'd go in, but we had such a good regiment coming in from the lower grades, you know, that we practiced ourselves. And we enjoyed winning. So the seniors would usually kind of take care of the freshmen, make sure they behaved and worked. And, you know, it followed like that. When we got to be seniors, we took care of the freshmen. When we were freshmen, they took care of us. And we developed each other because we didn't have a knowledgeable coach in all the 4 years. The year we won regional, they lined us up and then they said, will the captain come forward? We said, no, we don't have a captain. We didn't have a captain. We were a team. And they said, well, who's going to take it? I said, Coach Bromley's going to take it. So we made him walk out. He was this big old football, you know, he was a linebacker in college. And here he is walking up to receive a volleyball trophy of all things. When I started coaching, I started in Orange Park, Florida. I started coaching basketball. At this time, you know, Texas had a few schools that were playing sports. Basketball had been sanctioned in Texas, but the schools were not hiring coaches for girls. They were assigning, the men coaches got another assignment. And so there weren't jobs available. So I kind of checked around and found out that Florida had, you know, coaching basketball for girls, and that was my love, was basketball. And so I went ahead and applied, and I mean, they had openings. So I got a job and I worked there for 4 years, and then I came back to Texas. By then, Texas had started hiring women to coach girls.
How important was it to take that leap, to go ahead and get that first job, and it was not in Texas? Was that difficult for you?
There was an abundance of openings in Florida. There weren't that many girls going into physical education, you know, because it was so new. So, you know, you could just about pick where exactly you wanted to go to work.
When the opportunity came to Texas, what did you think? What was that conversation like?
It was nice, and the girl that was in Fabens was from Alpine. She was fixing to move to Odessa, and so I saw her in I think it was Christmas break, and she told me she was going to leave, and I said, well, I think I'll apply. And so I applied. I went in for an interview in June, and I got hired. Probably was the only applicant they had, because it was so new for girls to go into the field.
What year was that when you began in Pecos?
I came in 1980, 80-81 school year. So the 82, 83, we went to the regional finals. And, it was regional, we played Monahans for regional. And then Monahans won state. Monahans, the district was being governed by Monahans, Snyder. They were the only two that would win state in the state of Texas. They were the 4A state champs for years. They kind of took turns. And then I came in and we intercepted, and Pecos is now playing us, So it kind of changed, and Seminole came in and won a state title. So it just kind of spread out.
Going into year 85, you kind of dipped down. 86, rose back up. Going into 87, that summer, what was it about that summer that just really clicked?
I had a incoming senior leader, and she got on the phone, because I opened the gym in the summer. I'd open it certain days, and she'd get on the phone and call those girls and make sure they came to the gym. She got them to the gym every day. I couldn't do any teaching or anything. I just opened the gym, I went to my office, and I let them play as long as they wanted to, and then I shut it down again. And we did this like 3 times a day, 3 times a week. And that leader I had made sure that those girls were there.
That was the key.
Yes, it was a key. They protected each other, and they'd come in and say, Coach Geron, so-and-so stayed out last Saturday night till so, they come in and tell on each other when they broke the rules that they had set. We'd sit down and talk about what we need to do, keep our bodies strong and stay alert and all this stuff. And if somebody did what they weren't supposed to do, they'd come and tell me, And I'd bring them in and talk to them, and say, you're being watched, whether you know it or not. The rest of the kids are watching you.
It seemed so fast, so quick. All of a sudden, you're 8-0, you're 10-0, you're 11, you're racking them up. What was that flame like? Going home and saying, we're unbeatable right now, and we keep doing it.
I think they got hungry. You have to get hungry. You have to want that trophy. You have to want that district title, and it's them. Yeah, we coaches want it every day, but it's the kids. When do they want it? How do we get them to want that? If they've never tasted it before, they don't know what it's like. And you're trying to get them to want something that's brand new. It's like trying a piece of food. Are you going to like it? Sometimes you're hesitant. You don't like the way it looks. And sometimes you gobble it up right away. Sometimes you like it. Sometimes. So this is the way that the sport is. They've got to fall in love with it.
Front page seems to be Pecos Eagles volleyball. What did that make you feel like, that everybody in the region, including the countries, were writing about Eagles volleyball?
It was putting us on the map. When I came here, Monahans and Snyder controlled volleyball. It was either Monahans or Snyder winning state every year. And, you know, I pointed this out to the girls and I said, I want to see Pecos in there. I want us to go in and break up this little romance that they have and cut in and win some once in a while. And so the first time their goal was to beat Snyder and Monahan's. So the first time we beat them, I mean, it was, you can't imagine the kids in the dressing room. And it was just something that they did that nobody before them had done.
What does that photo make you feel like when you look at it?
You know, I really can't explain. It's like on top of the world finding, you know. We worked so many years for it. And we went to stay in Fairbanks, but didn't quite do it. And then we come here, and we go to state and we do it. We got the whole enchilada.
Yeah, that's great. What was it like, Coach telling you at either their timeout or y'all's timeout, do not let up? Mm-hmm. And what were those conversations like?
Well, you know, she was very firm of what we need to do. I remember times when we were trailing or we weren't doing as well, her getting her clipboard and just throwing it on the floor. And you could hear that or hear our names echoing through the gym if we messed up somehow, and we definitely never wanted to hear that from her. So, but you know, despite that, she still, you know, she motivated us. Like I said, it's kind of that tough, you know, toughness about her, and it was just something that she inspired in us, and just, you know, kind of got over it and pepped each other up and went back up there, and like I said, got it done. She's, you know, she's an amazing lady, athlete herself. Coached her daughter. Her daughter was a great coach. You know, I played under her as well, and she had some great nieces that played, and I know that they were all influenced by Coach Geron too.